I think many people, if you ask, who did Donald Trump intimidate first in this country, they probably point to immigrants, to poor people, to some of our small businesses. But the first persons intimidated were Republican elected officials. And we need two strong parties in our country. But unfortunately, the Republican Party has become almost a cult in the House. They cannot, they're wedded to Donald Trump. They cannot deviate from him. Don Bacon is one of the few who has. I know from talking with colleagues, there's a lot of grumbling about the position they've been placed in. But now they seem to mainly be debating this week how many $1 trillion more to add to a national deficit, to a national debt that they have condemned for years in the strongest possible terms. And yet the solution they're offering, since Elon Musk cuts may actually end up costing us more than they saved, is how much more will we make it worse? And that's the predicament that we find ourselves in today with Republicans, even on something as outrageous as you've been discussing there with Doug Jones of eliminating or suspending the writ of habeas corpus, the tool of a tyrant. They're quiet about these things.
Which is weird, Charlie, because whether it's deficits or taxes or tariffs or habeas corpus or the rule of law or the authority of judges, none of this is Republican theology.
That's correct. In fact, well, I've often said the chiefs of the Republican purity police pre-Donald Trump have been very flummoxed over the years because they used to impose various litmus tests on people. But then when Trump came along, he's non-ideological and transactional. And so it all became about fidelity to Donald Trump. But what's happening in the House right now in particular, you hear about this reconciliation process, and I'm sure your viewers get confused by it. But they're trying to force a bill out of the House that they've basically acknowledged is going nowhere in the Senate.
Yeah.
This same thing happened in 2017. I was against the process, and I voted against. It was the repeal, replace of Obamacare, the ACA. And I said at the time it was bad policy and bad politics because the Senate, not in a million years, would take it up. And so people were being forced to walk the plank, get BTU'd, if you will, if you remember what that is.
Yep.
And so I said that's what they're setting themselves up for, the same thing again, because the Senate is not going to go along with massive Medicaid cuts. They're just not. And also perhaps other cuts to various safety net programs. But at the end of the day, the Senate will probably just say, you know what, we're just going to call everything current policy, extend the current tax cuts pretty much as they are, deficit be damned, and that's where it'll end up.